How China has risen while escaping Western domination. A detailed look 1. Historical roots of resistance. China's rise cannot be fully understood without acknowledging the deep historical memory of what Chinese historians call the Century of Humiliation, roughly 1839 to 1949. During this period, China was carved up by Western imperial powers and Japan through unequal treaties, military defeats, and the loss of sovereignty. Opium Wars, 1839 to 42, 1856 to 60. Britain's aggressive trade policy and military might forced China to open its markets to opium, leading to military defeat and the signing of humiliating treaties. Boxer Rebellion, 1899 to 1901. A nationalist uprising against foreign influence and Christian missionaries that was crushed by an 8-nation alliance, deepening China's resentment. These events laid the psychological groundwork for modern China's determination to never again be dominated by the West. 2. The Communist Revolution, a break from the West. The victory of the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, in 1949 under Mao Zedong marked a complete political and ideological break from Western powers. Anti-imperialist stance. The CCP framed its revolution as a fight not just against internal feudalism and capitalism, but also against Western imperialism. Sino-Soviet alliance, early years. China aligned more with the Soviet Union rather than Western capitalist nations, gaining technological and military aid while reducing Western penetration. Self-reliance, Zili Gengsheng doctrine. Mao promoted self-sufficiency, limiting dependency on any foreign power, including the USSR eventually. Though isolated for much of the Cold War, this separation laid the groundwork for a fierce national pride and an alternative development model. 3. Economic reforms without ideological surrender. Deng Xiaoping's reforms beginning in 1978 opened China's economy, but not its political system, to the world. This was a calculated strategy to benefit from Western capital and technology without losing control. Socialism with Chinese characteristics allowed market reforms while keeping the CCP firmly in control. Special Economic Zones, SEZs. Places like Shenzhen were created to attract foreign investment in a tightly managed way. China welcomed Western businesses and trade, but always with strings attached: joint ventures, tech transfers, and censorship compliance. This was not an ideological surrender, but a pragmatic borrowing of tools to strengthen China from within. 4th. Technological and industrial self-sufficiency. In the 21st century, China has made enormous strides in becoming independent from Western technological dominance. Made in China 2025, a state-led initiative to dominate high-tech industries like AI, robotics, aerospace, and biotech. Huawei and ZTE, national champions that challenge Western telecom dominance, despite U.S. attempts to ban or limit their influence. Semiconductor push. China is investing heavily in developing its own chip manufacturing to reduce reliance on U.S.-led supply chains. While the U.S. has tried to counter this rise through export controls and sanctions, China has doubled down on innovation and state support. 5. Cultural and soft power resistance. China has also been reasserting its cultural confidence and pushing back against Western narratives. Control over media and internet. China has built the Great Firewall to limit Western cultural influence and promote its own narratives. Confucius Institutes. These spread Chinese language and culture abroad, projecting a soft power alternative to Western models. Film, literature, and social media. China is creating its own media giants like Tencent, ByteDance, and entertainment to compete globally. This is a civilizational reawakening, aiming to restore China's historical role as a central, respected cultural power. Sixth, strategic diplomacy and global South leadership. China is also redefining international order by building alternative alliances to Western-led institutions. Belt and Road Initiative, BRI. Infrastructure investments across Asia, Africa, and Latin America that tie many countries to China economically. BRICS bloc, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. A challenge to Western financial institutions like the IMF and World Bank. United Nations, China has expanded its influence in international organizations, often pushing for non-interventionist policies that counter Western liberal values. This geopolitical strategy presents China as a leader of the global South, a partner, not a patron, in contrast to Western neo-colonial perceptions. Conclusion: a deliberate and multifaceted escape. China's rise is not just a matter of economics or politics, it's a civilizational project. By selectively engaging with the West on its own terms, preserving its political sovereignty, nurturing indigenous innovation, and building parallel institutions, China has become a great power, not by assimilating into the Western order, but by